State police. Anybody in the house?
You two are down. You're upstairs?
He's up there.
State police!
Downstairs.
Identify yourself. Come out with your hands up. Come out with your hands up. Put your hands up. Hands up. Who's in here? Who's in? Anybody else in here?
Yeah, the guy you're looking for. That son of a he made a goddamn entrance in there. I've been here for 2 days.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike. And in the late spring of 2020, police in Connecticut, they were getting like a lot of very strange and disturbing reports. A young man wielding a samurai sword, if you can believe that, had just attacked 2 people, killing 1. Soon another person would be held captive, another person killed, and a woman kidnapped, leading to this multi-state manhunt. The thing was, this hadn't come out of nowhere. Months earlier, the University of Connecticut campus had received reports of a very strange student who was writing on his apartment walls of conspiracy theories, of death, of Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook guy, and of murder. This is the case of one Peter Manfredonia. So, this case is insane. Let's give it a go. It all began on May 22nd, 2020, when summer is right around the corner, and you're getting ready to wipe the winter dust and cobwebs off the old barbecue. It's an optimistic time. Except if you're like still in school or college or whatever, then you got exams coming up, and quite frankly, that sucks. Sucks for them. It was just before 9 a.m. that morning, May 22nd, when a man named Ted Demers, 62 years old, he was getting up and he was kind of pottering around his barn.
Ted Demers of Willington, an artistic furniture maker.
I let the wood kind of tell me where it's going to go. The designs come right out of what I see in the pieces that we find, and 90% of the material that we use comes right off the property. I find a lot of enjoyment just going out and finding materials and looking for unique pieces.
This was in Willington, Connecticut, a rural enough area northeast of Hartford. Ted was a woodworker, furniture, and had 2 sons. His business was called Everlasting Woods. He made all sorts of cool pieces, specializing in more unusual wood types. The kind of wood most carpenters would throw away, he embraced, knots and all. Ted was someone who loved the simple things in life, being out in nature, crafting in his woodwork shop, being with his family, his sons, who he was very proud of. He was a Little League coach, field trip chaperone. He was always there for those around him at the drop of a hat. He was a pretty gentle, gregarious fellow, like always there to help out, somebody in need. And it was this Friday morning, he decided to do just that. On quiet Myrtle Road, Ted was pottering around the yard and his barn, his wife Cindy inside.
A lot of the trees that I use are just about ready to go out, so some of the voids and the imperfections and the things that have happened to the trees over the years are the things that make the furniture special.
See, he was, as I said, out in the barn and the yard, kind of pottering about, doing whatever needs doing. So he was out there in the front yard and he sees this lad, young fella, walking up the road towards him, and he's thinking, like, this is just kind of odd. This was very early on a Friday morning in May, and this was not a place many would find. Myrtle Road is a dead-end road. No one passes through it. He lives in such a remote rural place that you never would see somebody like walking on the street, walking on the road. Out in the sticks like this, the only people you would see would be your neighbours, and Ted did not recognise this fella. So he goes to him, he says, "Hello, how you doing?" And the first thing Ted asks this young man is, are you stranded? Did your car break down? How can I help? Ted was just that kind of guy. The man replied yes. Yes, in fact, he had just broken down. He had been out driving on his motorbike, enjoying a beautiful spring morning, driving on these, remote country roads, when he'd had a small collision, and his motorbike had actually broken down. So he was just, walking away, looking for help, make a call, whatever. So without even thinking about it, Ted says, yes, of course. Let's go down. I'm a tinkerer, I'm good at my hands, I'm a woodworker. Maybe it's a small little thing I can help fix your motorbike, send you on your way. So Ted offered, hey, I'll drive you back to your bike and we can have a look at it. Ted goes into his house, tells his wife Cindy, oh, hey, this is what I'm doing, I'm helping out this poor fella who's stranded. Be back in a few minutes, just, heading down the road. Ted and this young man, they get on then an ATV, and off they go. Heading off in the direction of the bike. Should be back in just a few minutes. Either he won't be able to help out and fix it, or Ted will be back and, they can call to get it towed. It was probably less than 5 minutes, though, that multiple 911 calls were made.
A dirt bike just came down. I don't know what happened. I didn't see it, but someone's hit. 2 people are hit really badly.
A little down the road from Ted's house, screaming was heard. And an elderly neighbor who lived nearby, 80-year-old John Franco, had walked out to this road to investigate what the screaming was. John Franco saw this red motorcycle, 2 men standing beside it. One was this young man leaning over his neighbor, Ted Demers, and he was just beating him and attacking him. Ted was laying on the ground and blood was just everywhere. John Franco then went over. Remember, this guy's 80 years old, goes over, tries to, intervene. This young man then has a new target. He starts lashing then into John Franco, who's just going over to help. The first report said that this young man had a bat, like a baseball bat in his hands, and he was using it, swinging and hitting people and knocking them down and horrifically injuring him. But then reports of slicing came in.
There's someone beating my neighbor with a bat or something outside his house.
Okay.
And he's threatening me and my family, and now he's about to drive away on a red motorcycle. They're in really bad shape. Oh, no. Oh, my God.
Just stay on the phone,
One of them is missing a hand.
Stay on the phone, please.
Do you have people en route from Myrtle Road? There's supposed to be 2 injured parties there from an assault. He's saying one of the parties is missing their hand. Now, he thought it was a bat they used, but maybe there was some other instrument.
Yeah, we're at Myrtle Road in Wellington, and at the end of the Myrtle Road are 2 very hurt men, and they got attacked by a guy on a motorcycle. This is an emergency. Motorcycle kid went down Myrtle Road and went onto Route 320, and I don't know where he went from there.
Ted Demers had one of his hands sliced off. He was missing fingers on his other hand. It was absolutely horrific. And as I said, multiple 911 calls were made from other neighbors who heard the screaming and then went to investigate. All the folk on the road had heard the screaming, and some who ran to the scene had witnessed almost the entire thing, and the young man had threatened anyone he saw. Luckily for 80-year-old John Franco, when Peter lunged at him, he lost his balance and fell into the bushes along the side of the road. So the trees and bushes took the brunt of the blade, though John was still seriously injured. They reported the 2 men, John Franco and Ted Demers, were in an extremely bad way, and that this kid on the bike had then fled. The Connecticut State Police soon arrived.
We'll shut this off. Okay.
It's like a nightmare.
Yeah. What's that?
He just helped this kid.
Let me just... Yeah, we'll leave it running for now.
How could people be so mean? How could people do that to another person? Jesus. He's a woodworker that cut his hand off.
Both Ted and John were taken to the hospital. Ted tragically passing away from his wounds on the way. John would make a recovery, but it wasn't full. So who was the psychopath wandering around with a freaking samurai sword who just attacked 2 people, killing 1? Samurai swords are cool, but unfortunately kind of like neckbeards have kind of ruined them. But this was like a little bit beyond the pale. This guy was clearly a fan of 2 things, Japanese culture and murdering people. Witnesses would say this young man who they'd seen attacking these 2 guys and then fleeing on the motorbike, he was a big guy for you. 6'4", 240 odd pounds. A statewide alert went out for a red motorbike driven by a guy with a multicolored helmet wearing dark clothing. Thing was, the neighbors were actually able to help out identifying who this attacker was, for even more disturbing reasons. This guy they'd seen attacking people with a samurai sword, he had been to this road before. He had been stalking a young woman who lived here. In fact, it's believed that's why he was there that morning. He was looking for this young woman he was stalking, only he ran into Ted Demers first. The family he was stalking had been considering a restraining order against him. It was getting to such a state. See, this young woman had known this guy, and they had briefly dated at the University of Connecticut before breaking up, and he had become obsessed with her, even hacking her social media accounts at one point. They were able to give the police the name Peter Manfredonia, and he matched the description of the person they'd seen that day. He drove a motorbike, and he was also known to have not 1 but 2 samurai swords. Wow. This guy's Kill Bill, only no bills were killed. Unfortunately, 2 people were. His name was put out, as a person of interest, police put on a bolo, but the thing was, Peter was only just getting started. And speaking of being on the lookouts, finding people. Big news. Not in a good way. But did you know your precise location can be tracked? And it is tracked and logged every time you go onto the internet. That means that if somebody wanted to find you, they could. They can. Your IP address is linked to your physical location, your actual address. It's logged every time you log on, and this can be tracked by nefarious people. It's easier than you think. You want to stay private? You gotta think hard about it, my friends. You don't want some stranger just showing up to your door one day saying, knock, knock, hey, how you doing?
Finally, I can be with my best friend forever.
That probably wouldn't be a fun experience. Or how about this? What if you wanted to access content that's not available where you live? That's where today's sponsor, NordVPN, is here to help. NordVPN ensures that no one can trace your IP address, and it does that by routing your IP address through some other location around the globe. Where? That's up to you. They've got a big old list of places to pick from. I'm spoiled for choice. NordVPN is the absolute best in the business. It's the most reliable and safe. And best of all, NordVPN's features don't stop there. Nord also has incredible features like Nord's MeshNet, where you can safely connect to any other device in the world. Also a password manager, a data scanner, a dark web monitor that gives you alerts if your credentials have been leaked, and Nord's threat protection that blocks nefarious websites and advertisements, it scans files, and it stops trackers in their tracks. Nord's goal, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, is to make the internet better than it is today. And honestly, folks, the internet it seems like it's going downhill. That's why Nord, they're the good guys. They want an internet free from things like online threats, censorship, and surveillance. Those 3 things? Not in my house! So become safer with a click by downloading NordVPN today. And if you use my special link, that is nordvpn.com/thatchapter, you can get an exclusive deal. Get a NordVPN 2-year plan, and you'll also get 4 months extra. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Once again, go to nordvpn.com/thatchapter to get a 2-year plan and 4 extra months. All with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you so much to NordVPN for sponsoring and supporting That Chapter. Now let's get back to it. Peter, at the time, was 23 years of age, and he was studying at the University of Connecticut. He was studying engineering. He had started attending the university in 2015, and when news the police were looking for him came out, people who were familiar were pretty shocked. They thought the police, they're looking for the wrong guy. Peter was originally from Newtown, Connecticut, if you can believe that, where Sandy Hook is. And I'm sure I don't need to explain what happened at Sandy Hook to anybody, but in 2012, a guy named Adam Lanza walked into the Sandy Hook Elementary School and murdered 26 people, the vast majority of those 26 people being very young children. He did all of that before sending himself straight to hell. Peter had grown up on the same street as Adam Lanza, 6 houses down. Uganda Street is a portal of hell, it turns out. Who knew? Though I don't think Alex Jones called anyone in this story a paid actor. Peter's parents divorced when he was just beginning his sophomore year in high school. His mom a high school teacher, his dad, we'll get to his dad. After his parents divorced, his mom got the house, and Peter got on well with his mom and his 2 sisters, and he still had a relationship with his dad. Growing up, he battled anxiety and depression, but was successful by some metrics, always on the honor roll, captain of the track and field team, offensive lineman of the champion football team. He was even interviewed by the prestigious Newtown Bee, where he said his favorite part of playing football was hitting the other kids, his favorite subject was science, his favorite team, Da Bears, and he was a big mac and cheese fan. He won the Outstanding Male Athlete Award for 2015, and then got accepted to UConn, where he enrolled in the honors program and studied management and engineering. However, it was while at UConn that things slowly began to change. He'd most recently been living in Mansfield, near the University of Connecticut, and he was working as a doorman at a local restaurant. He wrote a lot about mass shootings and that kind of violence. I suppose, growing up where he did, it would lead you to that. He was very outspoken about the issue. He had family who had been in the Sandy Hook Elementary School that day. But him doing what he had done, once it got into the news across Connecticut, that he had murdered one person and attacked another one, it was wild. You couldn't imagine Peter doing this. Like, everybody who knew Peter would say he's great. Really nice guy, he's a lot of fun to be around, always laughing, joking, he's just a sound fella. This did not make sense. In the months before the attack in Willington, friends of Peter had warned the campus. They had warned the police about his increasingly erratic behavior. He went from trying to raise money to stop gun violence to idolizing Adam Lanza. He wrote insanely bizarre shit on his apartment room walls. I'm not angry, I'm upset. We saw what happened when Adam snapped. We saw what happened when Thanos snapped. Now they see what happens when I snap. And he did snap. When he drove 15 minutes north on his motorbike, armed with a katana. One spring day. And 1 month before this attack, in April of 2020, Peter Manfredonia's own dad was arrested. He was arrested for sexually assaulting a 15-year-old girl, and he got 15 months inside and 5 years probation. For some strange reason, Robert Manfredonia had 2 teen girls in his house. Yikes, this isn't gonna end well. And they were just, there with him, and he was giving them vodka and weed. When one of them left, he began to touch the other girl in a, sexual assaulty kind of way. She was in fact supposed to stay the night, but shocker, this made her uncomfortable. So she went to leave. And then, sort of hilariously, when she did so, Robert started crying and said he was devastated. Thankfully, this girl left and told her mom. Not great finding out your dad is a sex predator and a pedophile. So was something like that? Did that just make Peter snap? By reports though from people who knew him, they, for 6 months leading up to this, he had been, or was it the fact that this girl had rejected him? Or was it just general regular ass insanity that drove him to be doing this? Now to have murdered and now on the run. We don't know. But we do know what he did next.
To be on the lookout for this man, 23-year-old Peter Manfredonia. Police say he is considered armed and dangerous.
Police say Manfredonia is the suspect connected to the killing of 62-year-old Ted Demers and injuring another man with what police are calling a large-edged weapon. A description of that weapon is not available yet. On Friday, I spoke with Demers' wife, Cindy, who says her husband, Ted, attempted to help a man believed to be Manfredonia on a large red sports bike with a multicolored helmet. But when Demirs approached to help, that's when he and another man was attacked. State police are still looking into the motive of the assault, though they believe there was no connection between the individuals. According to friends, Manfredonia may have been familiar with the area since he is currently a senior at UConn in the Honors College studying engineering and business management.
During the hunt for Peter, they entered his apartment back in Mansfield and found all this weird shit. And extending the search, they found his bike discarded not far from the scene of the crime. It was found less than 5 miles from the crime scene, along with some clothing, his ID, and a few other bits. They also found his samurai sword in the woods, covered in blood. It would actually turn out that Peter hadn't gone that far at all from where he'd attacked these people on Myrtle Road. Likely he had just abandoned the bike, booked it then into those woods. And this was in such a remote area they had no idea where he was. Look out, what do you see? Forest, forest, some more forest over there. Likely, he had gotten off his bike, ran into the woods and hidden in them. Hidden in the forest until the very early wee hours of the following morning. This is Saturday. At about 5 a.m. then on that Saturday morning, he broke into another person's house again in Willington, this time 73-year-old Donald Hipsky's house. Donald would say he had been sawing wood. He woke up then shortly after 5 a.m. and he woke up in a rather interesting way to wake up, with a gun pointed to the back of his head. It was Donald's gun. Donald recognized Peter from the news. He had seen the reports the evening before. Peter then took Donald down to the basement of his own house, tied him up to a chair with like tape and rope, and basically they just shot the shit for the next 24 hours in that basement. Peter was grabbing, stealing Donald's food, stealing all of Donald's, firearms. Donald would say he was actually like, he was kind of grand. He was like off his rocker, but he was like, didn't like mistreat him or anything. Donald tried to convince Peter, turn yourself in. You've just murdered a man. And Peter said, how about no? I've got a better idea. I'm going to go on the run for 2 weeks. It's my goal, kind of like Running Man style. And then I'm going to end it all in a hail of bullets. What do you think of that? Pretty good, huh? Peter said his name was Rick, though Donald knew full well who he was, having just seen the news. Literally at one point while they were both watching TV, a news bulletin about Peter came on. So Donald turned to him and asked him if his name was really Peter. And Peter said, yeah. He just wanted him to call him Rick for the hell of it. Peter said he hadn't slept for 5 days, and he just flipped. He didn't know why he did it, and he felt sorry about it. Peter stayed in Donald's house for 24 hours. In this house while police were searching the very same area, before stealing a number of Donald's firearms and Donald's truck and fleeing, leaving Donald tied up in the basement. It was the following day, now Sunday, that Donald's truck was found abandoned in Derby, Connecticut, over an hour southbound on the other side of Hartford, seemingly caught on the rocks after trying to drive into a field. Police matched the registration of that truck to Donald Hipsky, so he lives in Wellington. Shit, did Peter Manfredonia steal his car? They went to Donald's house, found him still tied up in his own basement.
Size of hole originally. Look at that thing. Maybe we could break this knob and we'll just go in.
We'll just give me it. We'll just go. We're just gonna make this hole bigger. Can you reach in?
State police. Anybody in the house?
You two want to go down. You're upstairs? State police!
Downstairs.
Identify yourself. Come on with your hands up. Come on with your hands up. Put your hands up. Hands up. Who's in here? Who's in? Anybody else in here?
Yeah, the guy you're looking for. That son of a bitch, he made a goddamn entrance in there. I've been here for 2 days.
Okay, where is he?
He took my pickup, he stripped the fucking house, he's gone.
Is he in here?
That guy's a wacko.
Is he in here?
He's not in here.
Turn. Where's the light? Where's the light?
Right to your left, officer.
Right here?
No, right in the corner. All the lights are right.
He's not in here?
He's not in
Where'd he go?
I'm pretty sure.
Clear this area.
Is the pickup gone? Yeah. Yeah, he's got the white pickup. That son of a bitch.
He's not in here.
Got it. I am so happy to see you guys. How'd you get
Are you
here?
okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
If you're in here, put your hands up if you're in here. Put your hands up.
Roger.
If you're in here, come out.
Donald. Donald, where's your guns? Do you have guns in the safe?
No, I got him upstairs. He took my goddamn Beretta, my fucking handgun.
You got handguns.
That son of a bitch.
This is clear.
Okay. I don't know what else he took up there. I don't know where he's going, but he's dangerous.
Basement's clear. Basement's clear.
Do you want to fucking knife?
Document this.
We gotta get the rest of the house just in case he's not here. He's here. Clear. Clear. House is clear.
So how'd you get a hold of me? Jesus.
What do we need to do to get out of here? Even guys do this, it's kind of
Yeah, we gotta cut the zip ties.
Did you get assaulted, sir? Did he hit you at all? Or
Pardon me?
did you get assaulted at
Did he
all?
hit you? You're not injured, right?
Did he strike you at all? Did he hit you? Anything like that? No?
No, he's
Just
pretty
tied you up?
decent.
Okay.
He put the gun to the back of my head when I was sleeping. He says, don't turn around, I'll blow your fucking head off. I said, oh boy, what a way to wake up in the morning.
What time was that?
It was maybe 5:15.
And that was today?
No, that was Saturday morning.
Saturday morning.
I fell asleep in front of the
So,
TV.
so where did you get the handgun from? In your, you had it?
No, I had it. I sleep with it,
Yeah.
especially with this joker running around.
Yep.
But I had it on the other bed. I was in the recliner.
Okay.
So what he did, he was barefoot. He
Yep.
walked around, he grabbed it.
Yep.
And that's what happened there.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I should have had it right there, you know.
So you were sleeping, and all of a sudden, this guy puts a gun in the back of your head.
We're actually ecstatic to see you standing upright. So.
He seemed like a fairly decent guy, but he goes off the handle. You
Yeah.
can't trust him. You
Right.
did capture him? He's under... Oh,
No.
he's still on the run.
No, he's still on the run.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd he do, abandon the pickup?
Yeah. Yep. We found your pickup truck in Derby.
Yeah, where was it? On the side of the road?
Some road.
The good thing is that you're okay. That's all that matters. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as tragic as.
Yeah. It could have been a lot worse. That was like some
Right.
scary movie
Yeah.
type crap. All right. Okay.
Donald, of course, told him, yeah, he kept me here for about, a good 24. And now police were searching the Derby area. It seemed very clear that he had fled on foot somewhere here, but they couldn't find him at all, searching the area around where the truck had been abandoned. They found no sign of him. But they would very quickly find the sign of why he had gone to Derby in the first place. It was that Sunday morning another 911 call was made, asking police to go to the home of 23-year-old Nicholas Eisel. This was around 11 a.m. The call was from Nicholas's own father. He'd gone over to his son's house, maybe they can hang out. And instead he found his son. Nicholas and Peter had gone to school in Newtown. Nicholas was from, the same place that Peter was. They weren't especially close or anything. They were more sort of acquaintances. They played sports together. They were on, the football team together, that sort of thing. I think Nicholas might have, sold Peter some weed, occasionally, but like nothing really serious. After Nicholas himself had graduated from school in Newtown, he had moved to Derby with his longtime girlfriend, Shannon Spies. They were, fresh start for them both, striking out for the first time on their own. Early on that Sunday morning, Nicholas's downstairs neighbor had heard screaming and shouting coming from directly above him. He said it lasted about 5 minutes, then he heard the car drive off outside and all then was quiet. He didn't report anything to the police at the time because the neighbor said Nicholas and Shannon kind of got into arguments pretty frequently, so it'll kind of just all blow over. But then, a couple of hours later, that same morning, Nicholas's dad comes over, sees that the front door to his son's home is burst in, goes inside, finds Nicholas dead, shot twice in the apartment, and Nicholas' girlfriend, longtime girlfriend, Shannon, nowhere to be seen. Peter had stolen Donald's car and then driven over an hour, maybe an hour 15, to Derby, arrived there in the middle of the night. Nicholas and Shannon were the type to lock their doors. Peter just kicked it in. Shannon would say she woke up and she heard her boyfriend Nick saying relax and calm down. He was saying these loudly from the living room. When she asked if everything was okay, Nick said that Peter Manfredonia was in the apartment and she should call 911. So she ran for the phone. Peter came in, took the phone from Shannon at gunpoint. Shannon tried to hide, Nick tried to protect his girlfriend, and so Peter shot him twice. Why he chose this place, we have absolutely no idea why he chose to go after Nick and Shannon and what his aim was. But what we do know happened is he pointed the gun then at Shannon as she was cowering in the corner. He ordered her out down into her own vehicle, her own Volkswagen. He told her to get in, told her, sit in the driver's seat. He got into the car, sitting directly behind her, pointing a gun at the back of her head and told her, drive. Weirdly, it seemed that Nick knew Peter would be coming for him. I couldn't exactly find out why, but Shannon would say that when they heard about the murder in Willington, Shannon called her mom back home, back in Newtown, and told her to lock all the doors, and then Nick blocked Peter Manfredonia on all social media. So Peter has injured one, killed two, imprisoned one, and now kidnapped one. Peter and Shannon then began to drive. She was following Peter's instructions the entire time. They even drove through their hometown of Newtown at one point. Shannon said that at times she drove erratically, on purpose to try and get police attention. That she was thinking about driving into a tree at one point. She had her airbag, Peter was sitting in the back with no seatbelt on, but once she saw him clip that bad boy in, she decided against it. They mostly drove on back roads, sorta aimlessly. Peter was saying he was looking for a heavily wooded area to hide in. At one point he took her iPhone, deleted all the apps on it and closed her iCloud account, and then tried to set up a new one under the name Rick Sanchez, which, oh boy, big Rick and Morty fan. Peter sorta told her all about the last 36 hours, the murder, the assault, the home invasion. He said he snapped when he killed Ted Mears, and he hadn't intended on killing him, something just triggered him. He said he was trying to escape and innocent people kept getting in the way. The two people he killed, both Ted and Nick, were because he just said something triggered within him, and he didn't say any more than that. Likely the reason Peter went after Nick was that he knew he would have money, as he had bought weed off him before. He thought Nick would have a large amount of cash on him in his home, and he was right. They drove, Peter sitting in the backseat the entire time, pointing the gun at Shannon's head. They drove for about 7 hours southwest before Shannon said she just couldn't keep driving anymore. She just can't do it. So surprisingly, they just pulled over to the side of the road. This is in Columbia, New Jersey, and Peter said, okay, you're free to go. Shannon would say he didn't hurt her, he didn't touch her. He did hug her, and he apologized for murdering her boyfriend, and then he just let her go. Then Peter got an Uber and just kept going west. When they pulled over to the side of the road in New Jersey, Peter and Shannon got out, and Peter then just asked some random guy on the street to call an Uber for him, which he did, and then he just left Shannon there. When the Uber collected Peter and he was gone, Shannon then told this random guy what had just happened. They were both obviously fearful for the Uber driver who had just left, now carrying a 2-time murder. They called the cops. This guy with Shannon, who called the police, his name was Kyle, and he was just a good Samaritan on the side of the road. Now he's being caught up in this manhunt that had spread from states away.
So you picked up the gentleman or no?
No, the gentleman pulled into the truck stop and said he needed an Uber.
Okay.
And offered me money to call an Uber, said he needed to get to work. So I called him an Uber.
Okay.
He just got into the Uber, but he's armed. And I want to make
what
sure.
What kind of weapon does he have?
He has a little pistol. He fired 3 rounds into my boyfriend this morning.
Oh my, okay. So, all right, he got into a Chevy Impala. Look at your Uber account and tell me what the plate is on that vehicle.
Yeah, well, I'm really concerned about the Uber driver.
Okay, so give me the info. All right, put me on speaker. Look at your Uber account right now and get me that information.
Yes.
All right, what's the
guy who's running away?
Yes, what's his name?
His name is Peter Manfredonia. He's wanted in Connecticut. Trust me, just Google him and you'll know exactly who it is.
It's fine. And how do you know him?
He showed up at my house this morning and shot my boyfriend.
Okay, but how do you know?
They were friends since elementary school. They went to Newtown together in Connecticut. We're from Connecticut. He put a gun to my head and made me drive him here.
Okay, how the two of you know each other?
He's the one who called the Uber for the guy who
I know.
was hostage.
I know, but you don't know each other.
Listen. No, she pulled up and this guy just wanted an Uber.
Do you know what address that he gave the Uber driver?
Yes. Starbucks. The Starbucks on Hamilton Street in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Does he know someone there?
No. He's on the run.
He's on the run.
He has mental health issues. He snapped. And he murdered someone.
All right.
Then he murdered again.
Okay, just hold on 1 second for me. Do not hang up.
He pulled up asking for an Uber.
All right.
I was trying to be a good guy and called one.
That's fine. That's fine. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I'm really scared that he's going to do something bad to the guy, but I didn't know what. I couldn't call the cops right there because I figured he had a gun on him or something. Miss?
Hold on. Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Miss?
Yeah.
The Uber trip just ended, which it shouldn't have ended already, so I'm really concerned.
He what?
About that.
What did he do?
The Uber trip, it ended. The trip ended. So
where did it end?
I don't know. It just says, thank you for riding. I'm scared that he did something to the guy. Okay, here's where it ended. I can tell you where it ended.
Go ahead.
355 Lincoln Ave, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
The Uber driver, by the way, was unharmed. The next sighting of Peter would be about 7 hours later. This is still Sunday. When this had all begun, just on the Friday. This was when he was seen walking on railroad tracks behind a Walmart in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. The multi-state manhunt was now everywhere.
Peter, I want you to know that we are continuing our investigation. The one thing we are missing right now is you.
An investigation that has led to East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, where Peter Manfredonia was last seen on Sunday. In this surveillance photo, you can see the 6'4", 240-pound, 23-year-old wearing a white t-shirt, dark-colored shorts, and carrying a black duffel bag. That duffel bag is said to be full of guns, stolen from a Willington home invasion.
Your parents, your friends, all of us back here in Connecticut want a peaceful end to this.
Which is not how this all began.
Now, we do know state police brought their CERT team in, which is basically their SWAT team, to search the area, as well as a helicopter in the East Stroudsburg area. Now, there have been reports. We are also told this morning state police know of no contacts, no ties to our immediate northeastern Pennsylvania area. But, so you're aware, alerts have been put out through all local law enforcement, including county sheriffs like Luzerne, Lackawanna County, all across the area, basically telling people he's considered armed and dangerous. Do not approach him.
Over the next few days, there would be many sightings of Peter in this area. In a town near Scranton, PA, he was seen hiding behind a fire station before scurrying into the woods, always with that black duffel bag. That black duffel bag was scaring the shit out of people because that was the black duffel bag he'd stolen from Donald Hipsky's house. They knew that was filled. That was just filled with firearms. They didn't know who's he going to attack next. Where would he strike next? Would he Apparently he had gone insane over Adam Lanza. He'd gone from, a villain and a piece of shit that he is, destroying a town almost, to now, is he gonna do one of them? Another car was then stolen in East Stroudsburg, and the police began to think that could have been Peter. It was on May 27th, Wednesday, that he was seen at a convenience store now in Maryland. The stolen car found nearby. What exactly Peter was doing in the woods this entire time, we still don't know. Roaming from small Pennsylvania town to small Pennsylvania town, sleeping in the dense surrounding woods, moving by day and night. Police were searching all around this area. They were searching old coal mines, backcountry roads, campsites, on the hunt for the boogeyman of eastern Pennsylvania. Sightings would be reported. They had seen a big guy, an ex-football player, carrying a big bag of what was likely firearms on train tracks on country roads, seen from a distance in the woods. And when police showed up and got the whirlybirds out and the dogs out to try and find him, where the sighting was, poof, he was gone, like a fart in the wind. After that, the authorities learned he'd gotten an Uber to the next town over, Hagerstown, Maryland. It was that night, May 27th, Wednesday, at about 10 p.m. Peter, perhaps coming to his senses, he was actually arrested at a truck stop. He didn't go out without a fight like he wanted to get his whole 2 weeks and then bang, 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 bang. No. Police were all in this area because they knew he was here. There had been multiple sightings of him. 2 detectives were actually in the same truck stop, shooting the shit, and they were talking about the description of this guy they were on the lookout for. He's about this tall, 6'4", 240, whatever. This is what he's wearing. He has a big black duffel bag. Was that it? It was him. He gave up without a fight. No showdown with the cops. The multi-state manhunt just sort of ended. Ended with a whimper. He even led the police to his guns in the duffel bag. He had hidden it in the woods. The manhunt had lasted 6 days. He was then taken back to Connecticut and faced numerous charges, including murder, first-degree kidnapping, first-degree robbery, attempted murder, and so on. Weirdly, I actually remember this at the time as well, aka, and when I say weirdly, I mean aka disgustingly. There was a lot of Peter Manfredonia fan pages popping up. People, a lot of psychopaths, real sick puppies out there thought he was just great. Thought he was the friggin' bee's knees. And, little XOXO, isn't he great? Are you sure? Later, when being questioned, Peter would claim he had blacked out. During many of the events of this 6-day manhunt, he said he didn't remember killing Nicholas and abducting his girlfriend Stephanie. Said he didn't remember getting all the way to Maryland. He said what his intentions actually had been when he started, when he went to Myrtle Road, armed with a samurai sword. He was going to go to the house of this girl who had broken up with him, that he had become obsessed with, and end his own life right in front of her. Doesn't really make it a whole lot better that you're planning on destroying this poor young girl's life by committing seppuku on her doorstep. That's not cool either.
So going into that year, I was extremely depressed. Stopped working out, binge eating, any bad habit that you could possibly name. And I had, nothing, no mindset to change it, no anything. That when I drew on the wall, it was pretty much just, I was in a manic state and kind of anything, I couldn't even remember half the things that were on it, if you ask me now.
Would you compare that manic state that you were feeling then to maybe what you've been feeling the past few days? Is there any similarities there? I can't help but compare it in my own mind to the fact that you're having a hard time remembering what happened the past few days, as evidenced by a lot of the gaps in what you're telling us. So are there any similarities?
similarities. Yes, I would say they're definitely similar.
Okay.
Till this point, Peter had been a very kind-hearted fella. It was shocking that he had done all of this. Absolutely nobody could believe it. It just was totally out of the loop for somebody like Peter. Even people who had just met him as a bouncer at the restaurant where he worked in Mansfield said he was always laughing, joking, even if people were underage, he'd be like, don't worry about it, he'd let him in. It was so strange. Peter Manfredonia initially planned on a mental illness defense. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and anxiety. That he had some kind of psychotic break from reality, which honestly seems exactly like what happened. Untreated mental illness led to the most horrifying spree. But with the sheer number of crimes and victims and the level of attention this case received, probably not likely a jury would buy that. However, in early 2023, Peter Manfredonia had a change of heart. He decided, well, what he says is that he didn't want to, drag the families of his victims through a whole ordeal of a trial. Instead, he took a plea deal and he pleaded guilty to all of the charges. Some kind of plea deal was all he could hope for, and it would spare the families a long, drawn-out trial. In April 2023, the man who ate Peter Manfredonia appeared in court. Oh wait, that's actually, heavens to Betsy. He was sentenced that very day.
There are no words that can possibly atone for what I have done. Know that I am sorry nonetheless. You have done nothing to deserve the pain that I have caused. My actions were nothing short of irreprehensible. I do not expect forgiveness for my actions, and I will regret them every day for the rest of my life.
He was given 2 prison terms of 55 years each to run concurrently. And in prison to this day he remains, hopefully getting the help he so sorely needed back then. As part of taking that plea deal and that agreement, he cannot seek early release. He can't seek parole or anything like that. He will have to do those full 55 years. And I mean, when he was sentenced, he would have been 25, so he will be like 80 before he is released, if he is ever released at all. As I said, we will never really know. It's a mystery to all of us why Peter did what he did. What was the motivation behind it? But I mean, the only answer we have is he had this mental illness. I mean, he was diagnosed with anxiety and depression like when he was young, but plenty of people have that. There's nothing wrong with that, and plenty of people have perfectly normal lives with that. But it seems like that those two things were just left unchecked, and they just grew and grew and grew and grew until Peter just went on this this rampage for 6 whole days. Up until that point, he was nothing like the psycho killer qu'est-ce que c'est, that we all saw. But people had been warning, for 6 months before this. They saw Peter was unraveling. They were seeing the creepy shit he was writing on the walls and how he was just acting. It was totally out of character for Peter. There were signs that something was wrong. The writing was literally on the wall. Unfortunately, the signs, as impossible as they were to ignore, they were ignored. Thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me that you're here. If you're looking for more of that chapter, you can always check out the That Chapter Patreon for $2 a month. It's the whole early access, ad-free, all videos, and there's a Patreon exclusive load of videos there too. So give it a go and check out the That Chapter podcast, which has a brand new episode out every single Monday. But until the next one, please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves, because I love you. Mike, yeah.